I'm Anjindra, and this is Betrayal of Krondor. You might know me as Aliera of Wayrest. Way back in the day, my dad is Akatosh, the god of time, and we beta tested for Bethesda. Obviously, it was a big part him, but I got my name in the game by accident, so, well, my handle. So if that's how you know me. He was friends with Raymond E. Feist as well, the author, and he was commissioned to release the script for a video game in tandem with a book to do a dual promo, and this is it. So I thought we'd check it out. The ashes were cold. Wiping the grime off his hands, Locklear shook his head. Someone or something obviously just set up camp here, but it's hard to say just when. So Owen comes into camp one night off the side of a road and finds these two sitting, Locklear and the Moriel, and decides to, help a brother out and patch up his wounds. Winds up getting essentially functionally kidnapped. Locklear names him his squire, not his scribe, because he's a noble and he needs to get from point A to point B, and that's kind of what happens to you, especially back in the day. So I need a map, like a map. Where's Krondor? There's Lamut. There's Yabong. L'Oreal, Hawks Hollow, Quest Review. We're heading towards Krondor, and I forgot where on the map it is. Okay, so Krondor is south of here. So, we're headed south, and we're good. Alright. Cool thing about the game, they tried out this thing called riddle chests, which they had mentioned in the books, so you'll see me wandering off the beaten path quite a bit as long as I know roughly where I am. Because they're stashed here and there. Someone was calling. Recognizing the lilt of the young voice, Owen turned and looked back down the road. They used ciphers, which is super cool. I love cracking them. A young squire that he had met at a party in Yabon was trudging behind them, a pack full of scrolls slung over his shoulder. The squire waved congenially. Owen echoed the motion. What do you think you're doing? We're trying to remain unnoticed. Damn, Locklear muttered under his breath. Try to behave as normally as possible. Since you know him, you handle him, Owen. And remember, Gorath's name is Thorgath. Owen finished, irritated. I'm not a child, you know. Locklear whispered, that remains to be seen. Didn't expect to see you again quite so soon. I would have thought you all the way to Lamut by now. Squire Philip. Would have been if the Duchess hadn't insisted on introducing me to all of her daughters. Amelia was the prettiest, I believe. I think Catherine took quite a liking to you. Catherine took quite a liking to everyone at the party. She's as fickle as her mother. She'll likely marry a Condoin if she can find one not tied in the marital knot. True enough. Say, I thought you said you were from Tabern. Why are you taking this route home? Kind of a long way around, isn't it? Well, yes, but I had to meet up with my uncle, Locklear here, and my other friend is the elf Thorgath. They decided it would be nice for me to take a tour with them down to Hawks Hollow. I hear it's lovely this time of year. What are you up to? They're so stealth. Smooth as butter. I'm looking to cash in a reward, actually. When I was on my way up to Yabon last month, I found a chest in this area, but I couldn't pick the lock in the thing. Figured it wasn't meant to be, and I left off. Thing is, all through the Duchess's party, I couldn't help but think about it. The chest in the brain. I don't really care what's in it, but I have to pick that lock. Afraid my sense of direction and distance are a bit off right now. We all had a bit to drink last night, and we're still trying to shake off the effects. Which way is the nearest place we could get cleaned up? Must have been quite a bender if you're that confused. Head straight south along the main road, and that'll take you on into Lamut. If you're looking for good food, the Blue Wheel is a solid wager, although I'd warn you their surrounding food can be a bit spicy. I, for one, could do with a little less sleeping on the ground. Any good inns you could recommend? There's the Blue Wheel Inn of Lamut, or you might try the Dusty Dwarf at Hawks Hollow. I suppose if you got really desperate, you could try breaking into one of the abandoned houses out in that part of the country, but I can't sleep well in a house that may fall on top of me. Of course, it may well have been that people moved off for good reason. I've heard several people south of L'Oreal moved out after contagion began spreading there. Is anything left behind in any of the abandoned houses you saw? Nothing of real value, bits of food and a few cupboards. An occasional gold piece kicked beneath the foundation of the house, lost items mainly. The majority of the places I visited had those unpickable locks. What are they called? Weber locks. Yeah, yes, they had the Weber locks installed, so I wasn't able to get inside. I'm not certain, but I think I may have mislaid a very valuable belonging of mine. I shouldn't worry about it. Depending on where you lost it, chances are good it'll still be there. Alright, so we're rolling out here. What on earth is that? Something is buried under the dirt. The hole's not big enough to put a man in, so it's safe to assume it isn't a grave, Locklear said. Might be a secret cache of food or supplies. Let's take a look. Sure enough. We'll have to savor it before Krondor. If I lose all my supplies, I'm going to be ticked. How am I for armor and whatnot? Pretty good. So it has a decent plot line. We're rolling along. I want to try and find one of the chests. I remember it was like, we spent way too much time looking for them. It was horribly entertaining. So, we'll share with the audience. Am I hung up on a hill? I think I am. Okay, apparently I can't go that way around. They want me to find whatever this is. Oh, that's Lamont. Okay. Well, do I care or do I keep going? I think I'll go straight for Hawk's Hollow. I'm not an every quest kind of girl. So, the assassin was a mercenary. Luckily, could tell by the hardened set of the Moriel warrior's face, he hadn't hunted them down to avenge a wrong done to him. He hadn't chased them down to collect a debt. He'd come because the coin had been the right color and the right amount. For that price, win or lose, he'd fight them to the death. I actually really enjoyed the turn-based combat here. I thought that was very nice that it had a Final Fantasy feel to it, so it was familiar, but it didn't have the Final Fantasy look. So it was still a new experience, and the squares around them definitely laid out the battleground. The battle was won. Search the body for supplies, likely suggested, then amended, but make it quick. If there are more waiting out there, let's not be here when they return. Feeling a bit like a vulture, he turned the body this way and that as he searched for anything that might be of use to them on their journey. All in all, he supposed that if he were the dead man, it wouldn't matter to him any longer what happened to his belongings. I think Owen was the only one without armor. Cash money. We're actually doing okay for money now. Okay, good. So he's got some armor. Looks like he's a mage. I'm sure there's a story there. So, if I weren't running around in the bushes quite so much, there would be a whole heck of a lot more ground that I'd covered, but like I said, I'm chest hunting, so it is what it is. Gora stopped and stared off in the distance. After several seconds of contemplation, he turned and began to speak. Look at that tree over there. Lower limbs have all been hacked off. That either means we're near someone's property line, or someone was ensuring they had an unobstructed view of the area. If we continue in this direction, we should proceed with great caution. They were being watched. Unsure where their observers were located, Locklear wheeled about just as a figure emerged from behind the trees. Ooh, we got two guys now. I usually, okay, the way that I fight in turn-based combat is I tend to focus on one at a time. I just figure it lowers DPS on the enemy's side. Unfortunately, it does mean that occasionally one of my team does get double dogged as well, but it is what it is. Ooh, is he running? Oh, it's a little bit late for that. How's Gorath holding up? Let's check his health. Oh no, he's good. Okay. So we pretty much have this in the bag. Battle was won, search the bodies, etc., etc. They're just like dropping loot on me here. Rules of the dungeon crawl, bro. If your name's not on it, it's mine. I don't know what that is. So I'm just basically racing towards Krondor here. When somebody tells me you're on a mission, like, step aside. We're going. Barring the chest searching. The curios. The shopping. We need rest, he said, looking for a good place to camp. If we go much further without sleep, we may not be able to handle any unexpected surprises on the road. I had hoped to find at least one chest. No one answered Locklear's persistent knocking. After circling the house, he announced either the occupants slipped out, they're ignoring us, or they're stone-dead sleepers. Whatever the case may be, we would probably have better luck if we moved on. Is there a house behind me? There is. Okay. No place for weary travelers? Nothing? Place is abandoned, Gora said, looking around the room. Maybe the occupants left something behind we can use. Let's take a look. I think that's for a sling. Cool, so we found one of the abandoned houses. So basically, I have to make camp. So we're gonna make camp and call it a day. I am Manjindra. This is what to play next. I hope that you loved it. We're excited to share it with you. I just thought it was so cool that, barring Baldur's Gate and whatnot, they had a little bit of a spin-off. There weren't many video games that did syndicated books. I think Phantasmagoria might have as well. But it was a great experience. My dad knew the author, and we kind of had some insider info on what was going down and that the chests were there and they were super cool and that sort of thing. So it was a great experience back in the day, and I'm glad I could share it with you. There's all sorts of Easter eggs like this all over the channel, awesome games, stuff that we found, stuff that's discounted betas to be released. So check it out, drop us a like and subscribe, and stay up on everything that's awesome in gaming. Thank you for watching, as always. Much love.